Rome, 39 AD. You are 14 years old. You live inside a place called the Garden of Venus. The name is soft, reassuring. It sounds like safety, like beauty, like something parents repeat to themselves so they can sleep at night. But the garden has no flowers. It has marble, white stone floors polished smooth by centuries of power. Walls so clean they feel sterile. Silence so complete it presses against your ears. This morning you see her, the girl from the room beside yours. 3 days ago she laughed. You remember because laughter is rare here. It stands out. It lingers. Now she is being dragged down the corridor. 2 servants grip her arms. Her heels scrape the floor, leaving faint white marks that fade almost instantly. As if even the stone refuses to remember. Her eyes are open, not crying, not blinking, looking at nothing. A servant notices you staring. Strong hands pull you back into your chamber. Never look, she whispers. Then, quietly, like a kindness, and when they come for you, don't fight. Your parents called this an honor. The day the carriage arrived, neighbors watched from behind doorways. Mothers smiled too tightly. Fathers stood straighter than usual. You were chosen. No one explained why. No one explained how. No one told you that the most powerful man in the world keeps lists. Wax tablets filled with names, ages, faces, family reputations. Imperial officials move through Rome like clerks. They knock, they ask questions, they write things down. Girls between 12 and 16, beautiful, untouched, proper. Names are collected the way inventory is collected. The garden does not look like a prison. Silk curtains hang from high ceilings. Perfume lingers in the air. Food arrives without asking fruit from distant provinces. Warm bread, sweet wine. Servants smile. They obey instantly. Nothing here feels earned. You cannot leave your room without permission. You cannot contact your family. You do not know what day it is. Time dissolves into waiting. At night, footsteps move through the halls. Sometimes they pass. Sometimes they stop. A door opens. A girl is taken. There are no explanations, no schedules, no warnings. In the morning, the hallway feels emptier. Sometimes someone returns. She moves differently, slower, smaller, as if something heavy has been placed inside her and never removed. You begin to understand the rule of this place. Nothing you do changes anything. The waiting is the punishment. By the time your name is called, resistance has already been taken from you. It is a story about a system, and systems are learned. Rome, 19 AD. A 7-year-old boy runs through a military camp. The sun is high and hot, glinting off the polished armor of the legionaries. The boy wears a tiny soldier's uniform, custom-made. A small wooden sword, a gladius, bounces at his side. Red leather boots, just like the real soldiers wear, kick up clouds of dust as he laughs. His laughter echoes through the disciplined order of the camp, a bright, pure sound. The soldiers adore him. These are hardened men, veterans of brutal campaigns on the frontiers of the empire. They have seen things that would break lesser people. Yet, when they see this boy, their faces soften. They lift him onto their broad shoulders, a tiny general reviewing his troops, and they cheer for him. Their rough voices, used to battle cries, are filled with genuine affection. They call him Caligula, Little Boots. It's a nickname born of love, a term of endearment for the son of their commander. He is the son of Germanicus, the most beloved general Rome has known since the great Julius Caesar. Germanicus is more than a military genius. He is the people's champion, a man of integrity and charisma. To the legions on the Rhine, he is their father, their leader, their hope for a better Rome. And this little boy, Caligula, is the living embodiment of that hope. He is a symbol, a promise of a future as bright and glorious as his father. He represents continuity, a legacy of Roman virtue. He is the future, running through the dust in his little red boots. 1 year later, Germanicus is dead. He dies far from home in Syria. The official story that reaches Rome is clean, simple, and tragic. A sudden illness, a fever that no physician could quell, a hero taken by fate, a story told in whispers, in darkened rooms and behind cupped hands. This story is uglier, more complex. It speaks of a slow, agonizing decline. It speaks of strange artifacts found in his room-cursed tablets, the disinterred remains of human bodies, things associated with dark magic and poison. This whispered story has a name attached to it, not fate, but a man, the Emperor Tiberius. Jealous of Germanicus's popularity, fearful of his power, threatened by his very existence. The whispers say the emperor, the man who rules the world, ordered the poison. Caligula is 8 years old when the ground beneath his life collapses. The world he knew, a world of love, of cheering soldiers, of a heroic father, is gone. The cheers have been replaced by whispers. The promise of a bright future is now a shadow of suspicion and fear. His father, the center of his universe, is just gone. And in his place, there is a story of illness and another story of murder. For an 8-year-old boy, it is a chasm that opens up without warning. One moment, he is the beloved son of a hero. The next, he is the orphan of a potential victim, living under the shadow of the man rumored to be his father's killer. The system has begun its lesson. The lessons are always learned. The red boots are put away. The laughter stops. A silence begins to grow in the boy. A silence that will one day be filled with something else entirely, something the world is not prepared for. His mother, Agrippina, the elder, is a force of nature, a granddaughter of the first emperor, Augustus. She is fiercely proud and utterly devoted to her husband's memory. She does not accept the official story. She believes the whispers. In her grief, she becomes a living accusation against Tiberius. Or she returns to Rome, not as a quiet widow, but as a political storm. She carries her husband's ashes in an urn, held tightly to her chest, and marches through the streets. The people of Rome weep with her. They see in her the same integrity and fire they saw in Germanicus. Her public grief is a public condemnation of the emperor. He sees her not as a grieving widow, but as a rival, a threat. The love the people have for her and her children, including young Caligula, is a direct challenge to his authority. Agrippina is relentless. She confronts Tiberius. She speaks out. She keeps the memory of Germanicus and the suspicion surrounding his death alive. For Caligula, his home is no longer a home. It is a battleground. He watches his mother fight a silent, cold war against the most powerful man in the world. He sees the fear in the eyes of their friends, the way people who once flocked to their family now avoid them. He learns that power is not about love or popularity. It is about survival. He learns that enemies are not always on a battlefield. Sometimes they are in your own family, in the very palace where you are supposed to be safe. The lessons continue, sinking deep into the foundations of the boy who was once called Little Boots. He is no longer a child running through a camp. He is a pawn in a game of thrones, a silent observer in a house consumed by grief and paranoia. And he is learning. He is always learning. The system is a patient teacher. His mother is arrested, accused of treason, exiled to a barren island where she is left to starve. Her food is denied, her pleas for mercy ignored, until her body finally gives out. His brothers disappear. One by one, they are taken. One is imprisoned, locked away in a cell so bleak that hunger drives him to chew the very stuffing from his mattress, a slow, agonizing descent into madness. Another is tortured, subjected to pain so relentless, so inescapable, that in a final act of desperation, he smashes his own head against the stone walls of his prison just to make it stop. And Caligula watches. He sees it all, a silent spectator to the systematic destruction of his entire world. He is powerless. By the year 31 AD, he is 19 years old, the last male survivor of a family Rome once worshipped as gods, the final, fragile heir to a legacy of heroism and hope, now drenched in blood and betrayal. And then, after the silence, after the loss, comes the summons. A message arrives from the most powerful man in the world, the man responsible for it all. Emperor Tiberius orders him to Capri, an island fortress, a paradise prison cut off from the world. It is a place of stunning beauty cliffs plunging into an azure sea, villas draped in flowering vines, but its beauty is a mask. The island is designed for a singular purpose, to allow cruelty to exist without witnesses. It is a private kingdom where the emperor's darkest impulses can be explored without consequence, far from the prying eyes of the Roman Senate or the judgment of its people. For a young man whose entire family has been executed on the emperor's whim, this summons is not an invitation. It is a death sentence, delivered with a smile. The air on Capri is thick with paranoia. Every servant, every guard, every guest is a potential spy. One wrong look, a flicker of sadness in his eyes, a moment of grief for his murdered mother, any of it would be interpreted as defiance, and defiance means death. One unguarded word, one sigh of resentment, and he would follow his brothers into oblivion. His survival depends on becoming a ghost, a perfect, hollow reflection of whatever the emperor wants to see. And so the transformation begins. He erases himself. He smiles when cruelty is celebrated. He flatters the aging, suspicious emperor. He laughs at grotesque jokes. He kneels not just in body, but in spirit, prostrating his very soul before the man who destroyed his life. He becomes the perfect courtier, the most attentive servant. For 6 long years, he does not live. He performs. He watches Tiberius, studying him with the intensity of a predator learning its prey. He learns how fear can silence even the strongest men. He sees how humiliation can be weaponized, how it breaks a person's will more effectively than any physical torture. A Roman historian, looking back on these years, would write of him, "There was never a better servant, nor a worse master." The boy, who was Germanicus's son, was gone, buried deep beneath layers of performance and survival. In his place, something else was taking shape, forged in the quiet, gilded horror of Capri. Then, in the spring of 37 AD, the news arrives. Tiberius is dead. The tyrant who held the world in his grip has finally fallen. The reaction across the empire is not one of mourning, but of pure, unadulterated joy. Rome erupts. Crowds pour into the streets, cheering, singing, embracing strangers. The city, so long shrouded in fear, explodes in a carnival of relief. Bells ring from every temple. Mobs tear down the statues of the hated emperor, smashing them to pieces in the public squares. The nightmare, it seems, is finally over. And into this celebration, a new figure emerges, carried on a wave of popular adoration. The son of Germanicus has returned. Caligula, the last remnant of a beloved dynasty, is now emperor. And at first, it is everything Rome had dreamed of. He is the opposite of Tiberius in every way. He opens the prisons, freeing those unjustly locked away. He recalls the political exiles, bringing families back together. He abolishes the treason trials that had become a tool of political terror. He hosts massive public games, spectacles of grandeur that delight the populace. He doesn't just promise a new era, he pays for it, spending lavishly, pushing money from the imperial treasury back into the streets and into the hands of the people. For 7 glorious months, Rome believes its salvation has arrived. The darkness has lifted. Hope is reborn. The Republic feels young again. Then he falls ill. A fever, a mysterious sickness that confines him to the palace. For weeks, the city holds its breath. There are no public appearances, no new decrees, no visitors are allowed to see him. Rumors swirl through the streets, whispers of poison, of a divine curse. The city prays for his recovery. And then, one day, he returns. He emerges from the palace, but he is not the same. He is thinner, quieter. The joyful, open expression he once wore is gone, replaced by a still, watchful intensity. Something within him has changed, broken, or perhaps awakened. The kindness stops. The generosity ends. The public festivals cease. The methodical organization begins. Officials move through Rome again, their sandals echoing on the ancient stones. Their task is methodical, precise. They carry wax tablets and styluses, their movements practiced, efficient. They are not soldiers preparing for war, but bureaucrats compiling a list: age, appearance, family standing. They are looking for girls, specifically girls between the ages of 12 and 16. The criteria are strict, the selection process meticulous. Caligula examines them personally. He moves down the line of assembled children, his gaze lingering on each one. He says nothing. His silence is a heavy, suffocating blanket. His expression is unreadable, a mask of cold assessment. He is not looking at them as people, but as objects, as inventory. Behind him, scribes dip their styluses into wax, their hands moving with detached professionalism. Names, ages, physical traits, family connections. Every detail is recorded, every girl catalogued. This is not the act of a man driven by sudden impulse. This is procedure. This is the cold, grinding logic of the state. The empire that once measured shipments of grain and calculated tax revenue now measures human beings, reducing them to entries on a ledger. Caligula learned a valuable lesson during his years on the island of Capri under the tutelage of Tiberius. He learned that terror is most effective when it is systematized, when it looks orderly, when it wears the clean robes of officialdom, when it keeps meticulous records, when it diffuses responsibility so widely that no single person feels the weight of the crime. Everyone is just following orders. Everyone is just a cog in the machine. And that is why the Garden of Venus exists. It is not a monument to imperial excess, a flight of decadent fancy. It is a product of engineering as carefully designed as an aqueduct or a siege engine. Inside its walls, the illusion of luxury never ceases. The fountains never stop flowing. The music never stops playing. The smiles on the faces of the attendants never fade. But beneath this shimmering surface, a different kind of work is being done. Friendships between the girls are discouraged. Any sign of connection, a shared glance, a whispered conversation is noticed, and it is broken. The girls are separated, moved, isolated, because connection creates strength, and strength creates resistance. The waiting does the rest. The endless, uncertain waiting erodes the will. By the time the emperor's summons finally comes, many of the girls are already gone inside, their spirits hollowed out. They walk when they are told to walk. They stand where they are told to stand. They are compliant, not because they agree, not because they have been persuaded, but because the very capacity for resistance has been systematically dismantled, piece by piece. And the city of Rome, the heart of the world, stays quiet. The senators, the mothers, the fathers, they know. But silence feels safer than the truth. The Garden of Venus was never meant to look cruel. That was its most insidious feature, its true purpose. A dungeon announces its function. The sight of chains warns you. The cold, damp darkness prepares you for what is to come. But this place, this beautiful, sun-drenched garden, it lied. Silk curtains, dyed in Tyrian, purple and saffron yellow, softened the harsh Roman sunlight, casting the interiors in a warm, golden glow. The air was thick with perfumed jasmine, rose, and myrrh, so heavy it seemed to coat the tongue. Food appeared as if by magic, an endless procession of delicacies. Fruits from distant provinces, still cool from the snow-packed chests they traveled in, baskets of warm, freshly baked bread, goblets of sweet, chilled wine. To an outside observer, nothing was visibly wrong, and that was the first cruelty. The girls were separated the moment they arrived. They were assigned to different wings of the villa, attended by silent servants who would not answer their questions. There were no clocks to mark the passage of hours, no calendars to track the days. Time dissolved into a seamless, unending present. Days were not counted, they were endured. Letters home were forbidden. All contact with the outside world was severed. They were adrift, unmoored from everything they had ever known. At night, the silence of the garden was broken by the sound of footsteps echoing down the long marble corridors. Sometimes the footsteps would pass by a girl's door, fading into the distance. Sometimes they would stop. A heavy bolt would be drawn. A door would open. A girl would be taken. In the morning, the silence in the dining halls felt heavier, the empty spaces at the tables more pronounced. No one spoke of it. If two girls were seen speaking too often, if they seemed to be sharing comfort or forging a bond, they were noticed. One of them would be moved to another part of the villa, their fragile connection severed, because the architects of this place understood a fundamental principle of control. Connection creates strength, and strength creates resistance. Modern psychology would later give a name to the state they were inducing: learned helplessness. It is a psychological condition in which a person, subjected to an inescapable and traumatic event, learns that their actions have no effect, that nothing they do can change their situation. The mind, in an effort to protect itself, simply shuts down. First, you hope, then you try to fight. You test the boundaries, you look for a way out, and then, slowly, you realize nothing changes. Nothing you do matters. By the time the emperor's summons finally came, many were already defeated. Their bodies were present, but their spirits had retreated to a place no one could reach. This was not the chaotic indulgence of a madman. This was the precise and terrible engineering of a tyrant. Caligula was never satisfied with breaking the powerless. He wanted Rome's strongest men to bend to, publicly, unmistakably. The stage he chose for this performance was the imperial banquet. Marble ceilings arched high overhead. Countless oil lamps bathed the grand room in a warm, flickering light. Senators, generals, governors, men who commanded legions and ruled vast territories reclined at long tables, their laughter carefully measured. Everyone in that room, everyone who mattered in Rome, knew the rules. At some point in the evening, Caligula would rise from his couch. He moved with a deliberate slowness between the tables, his expression unreadable. He wasn't angry, not rushed. He simply examined faces, one by one, letting his gaze linger. Then he would choose. A woman, the wife of a powerful man, would be silently escorted away by his guards. The room did not react. Not a single chair scraped against the polished floor. Not a single voice protested. Her husband stayed seated, his face a mask of polite indifference, because to object, to show even a flicker of defiance, was to sign his entire family's death warrant. Children could disappear before the sun rose. Ancestral estates could be seized, their records erased. Names could be struck from history as if they had never existed at all. In that gilded hall, silence was not cowardice, it was survival. One night, a prominent senator watched as his own wife was taken. A few minutes later, Caligula returned to the table. He sat down beside the man, and as if discussing a chariot race, he casually described the encounter in intimate detail, like a critic reviewing a piece of entertainment for the cuckolded husband. The senator smiled. He nodded. He even thanked the emperor for the high honor bestowed upon his house. That single moment, that forced smile, mattered more than the violation itself, because now the senator was compromised. He was complicit. He could never speak out, never join a conspiracy without revealing his own shame and condemning himself. Caligula understood this dynamic perfectly. He knew that tyranny is strongest, not when its subjects are innocent, but when no one has clean hands. Sometimes he went even further. He would loan women from the imperial palace to his favored commanders and officials, a grotesque parody of hospitality. To accept the emperor's gift was to participate in his depravity. To refuse was a mortal insult. Either way, you were trapped. Either way, you were destroyed. On the surface, Rome still had its laws. It still had its senate, its courts, its ancient institutions. But beneath the veneer of marble and tradition, something essential had broken. Fear ruled the streets, but it was shame that ruled the ruling class. A deep, corrosive shame that paralyzed the very men who had the power to stop him. Caligula believed everyone could be broken. He believed every man had a price, a weakness, a point of fracture. He was wrong. Cassius Chaerea was a veteran of the Praetorian Guard, the emperor's own elite soldiers. He was a man forged in battle, a career soldier who lived by a code. He had scars from the German frontier. He had discipline etched into his soul. He also had a high-pitched voice, a quirk of nature that Caligula found endlessly amusing. Day after day, in front of the other guards and officers, the emperor mocked him for it. He'd imitate Chaerea, calling him by demeaning nicknames. When Chaerea, as was his duty, came to ask for the daily military password, Caligula would answer with humiliating, obscene words instead of the proper military response. Priapus, Venus, the other guards would smirk, looking away. Sharia did not. His face remained impassive. Humiliation did not weaken him. It sharpened him. It focused him. Each insult was another drop of fuel on a slow-burning fire. Caligula, blinded by his own arrogance, mistook this iron restraint for submission. He saw a man enduring shame and thought he saw a man being broken. January 24th, 41 AD. The city was celebrating the Palatine Games. Caligula, restless as ever, decided to leave the theater during the midday break. He took a shortcut, a narrow, private, underground corridor connecting the palace to the stage. The stone walls pressed in close, the air cool and damp. Torches cast long, dancing shadows. As he walked, flanked by his German bodyguards, Cassius Sharia stepped forward. It was routine, normal, safe. He approached the emperor, as was his duty, to request the password for the next watch. Caligula smirked, a familiar, contemptuous expression. He opened his mouth to insult Sharia one last time. He never finished the sentence. With the speed of a lifelong soldier, Sharia drove his blade deep into Caligula's side, just beneath the ribs. It was the signal. From the shadows of the corridor, other conspirators emerged, senators, other Praetorian officers. There was nowhere for the emperor to run. The narrow passage had become a trap. A flurry of blades rose and fell. Years of terror, of humiliation, of absolute power ended in a matter of seconds. Caligula, the living god, lay still on the cold stone floor. The machine of fear he had so meticulously built had finally devoured its own creator. The violence did not stop with him. Caligula's wife was killed. His daughter, only 2 years old, was murdered to end the bloodline. Rome had learned something terrible. Mercy creates martyrs. Finality creates silence. Sharia had ended a man. He had not dismantled the system. The new emperor, Claudius, inherited a problem no law could solve. Dozens of young women were still locked away, still waiting, still carrying what had been done to them in silence. To acknowledge them meant acknowledging everything else: the banquets, the senators, the complicity. Truth would not bring justice, it would bring chaos. So Claudius chose erasure. The girls were released quietly, one by one, escorted home with chests of gold, silk, and jewels. Officially, they were gifts. Unofficially, payment for forgetting. Most families accepted. What choice did they have? The girls returned, changed, withdrawn, watchful. In a society obsessed with purity and reputation, their futures narrowed instantly. Some never slept in darkness again. Lamps burned beside their beds for decades. Some flinched at footsteps, even their own. Some lost the ability to speak entirely. The physician Galen later described women with hollow eyes and unreachable minds. He recorded the symptoms, not the cause. Claudius ordered Caligula's records destroyed, wax tablets burned, ledgers erased. The machine disappeared into ash. The Garden of Venus is gone, buried beneath centuries of construction. Rome moved on. New emperors, new monuments, but the pattern survived. A system that turns people into numbers, that hides cruelty behind procedure, that allows everyone involved to claim innocence. The officials were only following orders. The guards were only doing their duty. The parents were only accepting an honor. The senators were only protecting their families. No one alone felt responsible. That was the machine's true strength. Caligula did not fall because Rome rediscovered morality. He fell because one man decided that survival was no longer enough. If that moment had not come, the machine would have kept running for decades, for generations. That is why this story matters. Not because it is ancient, but because it is familiar. Different names, different uniforms, same design. The most dangerous machines do not roar. They run quietly, waiting for someone, somewhere, to finally say enough. Ready to unwind. Imagine this. The day's hustle is finally over. The lights are low, and you're sinking into your favorite chair. What's missing? That perfect touch to transform your evening into something special. Here, we believe every night deserves a little bit of magic, a moment of pure comfort and calm. We're all about creating that cozy, luxurious feeling, like being wrapped in velvet. From soothing stories to tranquil sounds and relaxing conversations, this is your personal escape. It's your time to decompress, to breathe, and to just be. So, are you ready to settle in? Go on, hit that subscribe button, and let's make every evening a velvet night together. You've earned it. See you soon.